So we are very pleased to welcome Haif Bannayan, the CEO of the Jordan Education Initiative and also an Education Impact Fellow. So Haif, can you tell us more about the Jordan Education Initiative, please?
Sure. Well, the Jordan Education Initiative is a very innovative model that was probably the very first model of public-private partnership ever launched at this magnitude and scale since 2003. It was launched under the umbrella of the World Economic Forum, and it had, of course, it had the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah. And at that time it had very large partners, global partners who are really supporting the initiatives. To name a few, Microsoft, Cisco, Intel, Computer Associates, and many others. At the time it started with about 17 partners, and it grew to about 45 partners working together with Jordan on developing education. The two key criteria for the education initiative are the public-private partnership and really involving all the partners to support a country's quest in improving education, which has later on evolved into a multi-stakeholder partnership in education. It started as a public-private partnership, but then it evolved because it involved NGOs, it involved civil societies, it involved local private sector, global partners, and it really had everyone working together seamlessly towards one goal, which is developing a replicable model for integrating technology in education in Jordan and the region.
So what are the key facts of the Jordan Education Initiative? So how many schools, how many students, what are the key developments?
We started with the Jordan Education Initiative by adopting 100 schools. All of them are public schools. In Jordan in general, public schools are underprivileged schools because the general trend in Jordan, if you have some money, people prefer to go to private schools. And of course, private schools should not be the basis for really booming the education sector in Jordan, and therefore there's a lot of focus on public schools. So the Jordan Education Initiative adopted 100 schools. We named them afterwards as the Discovery Schools because the process of developing the education model was really an exploratory process. So we were actually exploring and trying to find out what we're trying to do and what's the best model. So we started with adopting these 100 schools. The first thing the government did was connecting these schools, providing the schools with broadband fiber optics network. So the schools were receiving 100 megabits of connectivity. Then the partners started, first of all, laying the basic infrastructure within the schools, so introducing computer labs, introducing wireless networks, and we started working with the teachers to really enable the teachers to how to use technology. However, the major chunk was getting the partners to work together and developing what we are calling now the e-content. Up until that time, Arabic e-content hardly ever existed. So this was a very novel thing at the time, and it was very much based on the Jordanian curricula. So the global partners, local partners, and the governments worked together to develop e-content covering from grades 1 to 12 in 6 core subjects, mainly math, Arabic, English, science, ICT, and civics.
What have been the key benefits from the public bodies in Jordan and for the partners? Well, what has made it successful?
Well, for a small country like Jordan and a developing country like Jordan, first of all, it's leadership. It's the top leadership and top support. Of course, the JI was launched under the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah II, and straight after that, Her Majesty Queen Rania adopted this program and started really following it up and giving it its support. That is very important. The second and most important thing is the government to provide the groundwork. Jordan, for example, Ministry of Education has been working on education for a long time, but right at the time when we launched the Jordan Education Initiative, the Ministry of Education launched the ERFK program, which is the Education Reform for Knowledge Economy program. It's the largest reform program in Jordan, $380 million. spanning over a period of 5 years. And of course, it's a combination of loans and grants from USAID and World Bank and others. So that provided the base or the portal, if you like, for actually improving education. EarthK focuses on every aspect of education reform. JI fitted very nicely in supporting the ICT component in that. Also, Ministry of ICT, at that time, Ministry of Information Communications Technology, had launched the National Broadband Fiber Optics Network very much the same year, which is providing the connectivity for all the schools in Jordan, which is about 3,500 schools, with broadband fiber optics network. The third, I think, critical factor is also a very vibrant local ICT sector that was very ready to learn from the global partners and develop the sector accordingly, and work with the government to develop the model.
Okay. So the Jordan Education Initiative was awarded and received many prizes from UNESCO and around the world. What are the key outcomes and measurable things that you can get out of the Jordan Education Initiative?
Yes, well, since we're standing at the UNESCO, it's worthwhile mentioning that we received the UNESCO ICT and Education Prize for 2009, and that's why we got invited today to participate in their Edu Summit. The program is very innovative and very creative, and it did stir a different, first of all, it created a different dynamics in teaching and learning within the schools. It definitely created a different way. It helped Ministry of Education loosen up a little bit from their standard bureaucracy. I mean, Ministry of Education all over the world are very bureaucratic, but this actually helped them, understand that education is not only the responsibility of government, and I truly believe that education is a country's responsibility. So government has to work and has to open its doors for the private sector, local private sector, global private sector, and if you have a good strategy, partners would flock into the country to actually help, and we've seen that with JI Phase 1, and then when we wanted to launch JI Phase 2, all we had to do is just to say, we have a strategy, we have a model, we know what we want, come and work with us. And there were many companies who were very ready to actually come and work with us. Now it will be good to have a look at the JI website, because in 2008 we did a full-fledged impact assessment study. It was funded by USAID, and it covered all aspects. So it covered basically the teaching and learning, it covered the public-private partnership, it covered the total cost of ownership, and there is one brief report that really tells you all the benefits that came about as a result of the Jordan Education Initiative. But suffice to say, before the Jordan Education Initiative or after the Jordan Education Initiative, there were many firsts. First of all, there were very few computer labs. Now computer labs are, Ministry of Education is spreading computer labs in almost all its schools. Before JI, they didn't have the concept, the job of a lab technician. Now they have lab technicians created to support all the labs. We didn't have e-content, and teaching and learning. Technology was looked at only as to teach ICT. And our philosophy and that of our partners is that ICT should be embedded into the lives of the students. They should not think about what do they need about opening a laptop. It shouldn't be an effort. It should be their second nature to reach out for their laptop or their iPad or their any kind of technology that is available for them to actually use it for their teaching and learning, because information is the future of education, and you need internet, and you need to have basic education.
Thank you for this very inspiring vision. So in a few words, what will be your key recommendations to a country who would like to apply public-private partnerships based on your experience?
Well, as I said, there has to be a very clear vision for the country. It depends on the country's culture. If leadership is important, then I would say leadership is important to have patronage or to have support from the top level, be it from prime minister or a minister or king or president. It really depends. Many of the developing countries, you will find that people actually follow and look up to their leaders, and their leaders actually help in formulating the vision. So you need that kind of support. You need a very strong vision, and you need a strategy. What would you do? But before that, you have to have conviction that improving education, as I said before, it's not the responsibility only of government. You have to have inclusion. You have to include private sector. If you have a good local private sector, involve them. In Jordan, for example, NGOs and civic societies are really booming, and there are a number of institutions that are under the patronage of Her Majesty Queen Rania that are really supporting education in numerous ways, in ways that government either doesn't have the time or doesn't have the budget or doesn't have the fund, the effort or the knowledge to actually do that. And you need that kind of effort. So open up and really understand that you really need the support of others. That coupled with a strategy, and then identifying who is strong in what, and then opening up and pulling them together, it will really help. But again, strategy is very important to have a strategy, because if you don't, nothing will happen.